Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? In another week, another edition of the show. This week, I'm excited to have Adrian from the awesome band out of St. Louis called Fight Back Mountain. I'm just going to say, we don't like the genre label, but when you hear the sounds, it's punkish, it's righteous, it's just good fucking fast music. So I'm excited to have Adrian here today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. It's nice and snowy in St. Louis, so I've been bundled up inside all day, but I'm ready to talk about the band for sure.
Nice. Yeah, nice and snowy here up in the Northeast as well. We can't seem to go a couple days without snow recently, but no one cares about our problems that are listening in fucking sunny Orlando. But
right.
So why don't you give me we'll start out very simply. Why don't you give me a quick rundown about how Fight Back Mountain became the band that it is today and how you guys all got together to start creating some of this awesome music?
Yeah, for sure. So I and Devin's our drummer, we played in a punk rock band from I want to say 2009 to 2013, thereabout, maybe 2014, called the Mondales. And we didn't take it very seriously. We played local shows. We never went on tour or anything. We never recorded anything professionally. I think I recorded all of our stuff in Audacity, the music program.
I remember Audacity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we did that up until the point when I went to law school. I went to law school in 2015. And then after that, in around 2017 or 18, we were like, hey, let's start another band. And at the time, my partner,
because
Anjelica,
law wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, as if being a lawyer wasn't, enough for me. I was like, yeah, I gotta do something else. So at the time, my partner, Anjelica, she was writing a lot of lyrics and stuff, but didn't have a band to put the lyrics to. So I was like, well, how about we get Devin as the drummer? I'll play guitar. Anjelica plays guitar. We'll get you on second guitar, and then we'll just find a bass player and we'll make it work. So then we kind of shopped around for a bass player, and I ended up finding Andy, who was weirdly enough, we're not anything like this, but he was in a folk punk act. Like he was a folk punk guy. It's like not my thing at all. I will tell him, like, I just tell him straight up, like, I don't like that. I don't mess with that. But no shade on
What is
anybody who
folk
does.
punk? Like,
That's like okay, so early Against Me is kind of folk punk, but that's like a really
all
good
right.
example.
Uh,
That's like saying Metallica is an example of metal and discounting any of the other stuff, right? So that's like
yeah.
the premier example of folk punk, but mostly it's like stinky people playing acoustic guitars and yelling and stuff. Uh, Again, no offense to anybody who likes that, but so I said, Andy, get over here. You should play bass in my band. So when we got him in the band, we really like formed the band in 2018, and from there, other than having to take a year off like everybody did for COVID, a year and a half off or whatever for COVID, we have pretty much just hit the ground running since then.
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, your first album, Times Beach, came out in 2019, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, what was the lead up into sitting down and recording like the first album with a new band, trying to take things to a different level and different seriousness aspect of what you were doing? And
Yeah. So, I mean, first we had to play a bunch of local shows to actually maybe scrape together a few bucks so that we can afford to pay for the studio time. And for the first one, we did it as cheap as we possibly could. We actually recorded it all live. And then I went back and just recorded the vocals over it, which is why it doesn't sound as like studio-ish as our,
no,
not
it's
as
raw, but
polished. Yeah,
that's
it's more raw.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's raw. And listen, that's why I like it. I
Right.
think there is sometimes too much attention paid to in studio. You get a better essence of, how artists are when you do hear the raw, and like you do hear a couple things like, oh, I don't think that was supposed to stay there. And in a studio setting, you can remove it. So
Right. Yeah. In studio, it's all on a track, right? There's like a
yeah.
click track and all that stuff. So we played a bunch of local shows. We got some decently sized opening spots, but once we released the first album, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff on Spotify or Apple Music or what have you. Promotion in today's day and age is like a whole big thing. It's like you have to really know what you're doing. I didn't really know what the heck I was doing because it was obviously way different than when I recorded stuff on Audacity and I just threw it on Bandcamp. It was a way different environment for that. So after that, we continued doing what we were doing, and then we started writing a second album pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, and that was Lavender Bay,
Lavender Sky.
right? Lavender Sky. Sorry, I
No, you're good.
apologize. My handwriting's terrible.
No, it's all
Um,
right.
and that had the fortunate, you know, time of coming out in 2021. Well, I guess we were still reeling from what was going on. Did you record that during COVID?
Yeah, so we recorded the first half of it. So our plan, it was a great plan. It was a fantastic plan. Our plan was to record the first half of it on March 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then to record the second half of it, the next six songs, on April 5, 6, and 7, the first weekend of April, whatever it ended up
Okay.
being. So I remember distinctly the third day of recording was the day that and I might be like slightly off on the days, but I do remember that the last day of recording was the day that like the NBA canceled all their games for the season. And I was like, oh, that's not good. This
Yeah.
might be like a serious thing. Uh, so yeah, we literally recorded it, I think finished recording it like 2 days before St. Louis City had their shelter in place order issued. I think 2 days or maybe even one day before. And then
Mhm.
obviously the second half of it, we waited until um, early 2021 to record it. The second half, and it wasn't as fun because we didn't do the thing where the whole band was in the studio. It was just the minimum number of people who needed to be in the studio. So it was like me and Angelica and me and Devin and me and Andy separate. But I mean, you do what you got to do to finish it. You don't just record 6 songs and then not ever put anything else out.
Well, and I gotta say, one of my big things that I'm a huge proponent of, and that I love is people just making albums, right? I think it's a lost art still nowadays, especially with the singles game, and we're gonna put out an EP, and then 6 months later put out another EP, and then 6 months after that we're gonna call it an album.
Yeah. Can I
Because we're
say?
adding 2 extra songs.
Can I say I kind of hate that? I kind of also hate that. Yeah,
I can't stand it.
I don't like it.
I fall into that line where, and I talk to younger bands a lot, and I'm like, I I think everyone does themselves a disservice by doing it that way. And only because there are a lot of people who, when they hear a song and they find a band, the first thing they do is rush to listen to everything that band has out. And if you only have fucking 2 singles out, even though you've already created other music, you probably just lost somebody, because I know myself as a music lover and owner of a record store and venue. Like, if I can't find more by you, I'm not going back. I'm not coming back to you. I just don't. I just won't do it. I'm like, because my theory also is anyone can write a good song, like one good song, right? Anybody can write one good song. It's the second and third and fourth and fifth that are really the hardest. So if you don't have that out there for me to listen to, I'm probably going to forget about you real fucking fast.
Yeah, just like all those one-hit wonder bands in the like 90s. I was literally just watching on YouTube before this that Crash Test Dummies song.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called. Yeah. That one. Yeah. And I was like, I don't really like the song, but it's popular. I wonder if they have any other songs, and they don't. Not really. So your theory of anybody can write one song, I think it's accurate. I've always been an albums guy. When I first started listening to music was like actually seriously started listening to music was probably in like the middle, early 2000s. And, my parents gave me a couple CDs that they had lying around, and they were albums. So I listened to albums. I've just always been like that.
Yeah. I'm still like that is, I just love to put on an album and not a playlist. Like, I want to hear it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you bring up your parents' CDs. So let's get a little personal here. Like, as a kid, do you kind of remember like the first thing that you heard as a kid that kind of piqued your interest with music?
Yes, it was Spoon Man by Soundgarden, I think.
Yes, it's Spoon Man by Soundgarden. I actually saw the actual Spoon Man play at the New York Armory, which is a story, and which is great. There's a story in Chris Cornell's biography, Total Fucking Godhead, and the story is about the show at the Armory. And I remember because I passed out in there.
Wow.
Listen, there was probably some substances going on, but it was it was also like 112 degrees in the place.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So you were a part of history, basically. You were a part of the Spoon Man history.
Yeah, I remember reading the book, and then I started taking screenshots and sending it to my buddies that we were at the show in the 90s when it happened. I was like, dude, that show is in this book. This is so awesome. I'm like, I don't remember it. I remember seeing the Spoon Man on the stage, and then I don't remember anything else except for the cops telling everybody that was sleeping on the ground like to leave because there was no one else left in the building.
That's amazing. But yeah, that was the first song I can remember actually listening to and being like, ooh, I like this song. And then when my parents gave me the CDs, listen to this lineup. This is, speaking of 90s stuff, this is like the best 3 CDs that you can get from your parents, okay? Because my parents are pretty cool. They gave me Dookie by Green Day.
All right.
They gave me Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, perfect.
And they gave me The Real Thing by Faith No More. That was the first 3 CDs out.
So, I will hand it to you. You got some pretty fucking rad parents if those are the 3. I mean, Siamese Dream to me is a perfect album.
I would agree.
It's unskippable. Dookie's great. I remember rushing to the store the day it came out because I was a big fan prior to Dookie, getting to see them play when they were, still touring on the Kerplunk album.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And And Faith No More. I mean, Mike Patton to me is one of, if he's on a Mount Rushmore of vocalists in the
Oh
world for
yeah,
me, of just what his range and what he can do.
his range is completely crazy. I can't fathom how he's able to do that.
Yeah. Those are good introductory CDs in the music. So from that point, I mean, you get those three fucking kick-ass CDs, right? And
Yeah.
how did you start to decipher and find your own music after that point?
Yeah. The first thing I used, I talk about algorithms. The first thing I used, and I don't know how they came up with this. I guess somebody might have handpicked it, but I listened to something called a Yahoo Music, which was a program similar to maybe Pandora Radio, where you could pick a band and like Green Day, and it would play stuff that it thought was similar to that. And that was actually how I found out about the stuff that I like that's a little deeper than the surface level. Like you talk about like, like the Descendants, like Lagwagon, No Effects, that stuff
Mm-hmm.
I found out about, level two of punk rock, right? You got your level one. This is, I would say, level two. I got to the level two from Yahoo Music, but I thought that all of those bands were new bands because I didn't know. In 2006, I had no idea that these were not new bands, and that they had just put out stuff that was them reuniting or whatever after a long time. So, so that's how I found out about that, and then from there, I got into local music. In St. Louis City, we used to have this really, really awesome local band. I think they broke up recently. I think they played their last ever show. It was like a benefit show a few years ago. But back in like 2007, we had this really great local band called the Humanoids. And I saw them like a bunch in St. Louis City. And, you go to a show, you see people that are older than you and maybe cooler than you, and they're wearing like shirts for bands, and then you make a mental note of it, and then you go and listen to it later. That's how I basically got into all of it.
That's all. Yeah, the people didn't really understand that the thing with like pins and patches and concert T-shirts was like it really is the greatest form of marketing and getting other people to, especially if you're going to the same show where how exactly what I always call concerts. It's just a room filled with friends. They're not strangers. They're just friends you haven't met yet because you're all there
Right.
for the same thing. So you're all kind of going to have the same taste and stuff, right? So that was always a great way to be like, oh my God, like, what's that shirt? Let me like fucking take a mental note of that shirt that I see there. Like who are the Germs? Like, let me check that out. I mean, and for me back in the day, it was harder because we didn't, I'm an old man. So like the internet was in its infancy when I was in high school. So
Yeah.
like when I would go to shows, it was just because someone's older brother, or I found it in Thrasher magazine, or watched a skate video and saw the name of the band. And then I'd run out to the record store and say, hey, do you have this? And luckily enough, like I had some really cool record stores that I grew up near that would have all the stuff that nobody else had. It wasn't
Yeah.
a Sam Goody or a Tower Records. They had the stuff I was looking for. They had the Descendants. I'm like,
Right.
hey, yeah, we got their entire fucking discography right here. And you're like, oh shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, our store
But
like that in St. Louis was called Slackers. It's still around, but it's not nearly as good as it used to be.
yeah, our store was called Flipside, and they just did a whole documentary on it.
Really?
And
Wow.
it premiered last year at Sun. Yeah. It's a shame the place has kind of gone to shit now, but it was just like, it was the store. Like, it was a store where you could go hang out. The people there, like, didn't care who you were, what you looked like, and would just show you music like all day long. Like, oh, dude, you got to listen to this. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you got to listen to this. Like I'm right here in my studio. I have the very first ever Jimmy Eat World CD that was ever made, like before they were signed. That's worth $500 on Discogs right now. And it was because the guy's like, oh, you should check out this band. Here, take this home. And I
That's
still have it.
awesome.
And it's like,
That's
that
fantastic.
was the thing. And that's, luckily enough, now older in life, I create my own space just like that. And I'm trying to do the same thing for people. Be like, oh, dude, you got to hear this. I mean, this is where the show came from 5 years ago, was
Right.
me just being like, oh, you got to listen to this fucking band. You got to hear these guys.
Have you
You
ever
got to hear
seen?
these guys. And I was like, well,
I'm sure you've seen the movie High Fidelity, right? You got to
yeah,
be like, it's kind
yeah.
of like that. You go in there and there's these cool guys hanging out there, and you're like, ooh, what are these guys into? Like, guys or girls or whoever,
Yeah,
anybody in
I
there.
mean, I don't have an asshole like Jack Black in there, telling me this stuff sucks because there there is a
Yeah.
record store in the area that has one of those guys,
Mm.
and it's like, yeah,
I
that's
forgot he
not
is
how
kind of a
you.
chode in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But so you go into those shows, you're finding out new music and stuff. Was there a point where you kind of like found this band that you got really excited to go show all your friends about that you didn't think they knew about?
Yeah, I would say for me, that band was the band All, which is like the Descendants
Yeah.
side shot band. Um,
Yep.
I think that they are really, really good and a little bit more, I don't want to say, I guess a little bit more progressive than,
They were a little poppier, and I actually had this conversation last week with a guy. He walked in with a very good customer, has become a really good friend. So I'm an all guy. I love the
okay.
Descendants, but I'm all like
Yeah.
that is I'm like they're just to me they're better. I loved Roy Smalley. I loved Scott Reynolds. Chad Price. I was lucky enough to have Chad Price on the show here,
Oh,
and like
nice.
all is like to me the Descendants are great, but all is where I think it, no pun intended, it all came together and made
Yeah.
sense for me.
That album, what was it? Olroy's Revenge was the one I
Yeah.
listened to where I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Because also, when I was taking guitar lessons, I haven't taken guitar lessons since like 2010. But when I was taking them actively, trying to learn how to play guitar, my guitar teacher, who has since passed away, but he was he didn't like punk music. He refused to teach me anything by like Blink 182 or any of the other bands that were I wanted to learn songs by. But I showed him that, and he was like, "Oh, this is actually what he called in a douchey way. He was like, "This is actually musically interesting," and he like taught me how to play those songs because they were difficult to play on guitar. And I guess he thought he was like teaching me something, which he was. And yeah, that what's the guy's name? Steven.
Steven Edgar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's a
insane. He's just a
genius.
beast. He's crazy. He plugs his guitar into like one distortion pedal and then just like straight into the amp. Like he doesn't have like a pedal board or anything. Um, yeah, and the way he plays those like really inventive guitar riffs and everything just really set that band apart for me. And I also, I saw people repping Descendants and everybody in that scene that's like on to level two or deeper knows about the Descendants, but nobody seemed to talk about all. So I would always tell my friends like, "Hey, you got to check out the other Descendants band."
Yeah. Which is it's the poppier, it's catchier, it's easier to hang on to, and that's always been my thing with that band, was like the reason why I love them, because I love punk rock, but I also love power pop, and like power
Yeah,
pop, like 90s power pop, which is Teenage Fan Club, the Posies, Sloan, things like that had
rentals.
some meaning. Yeah, had some meaning to it, right? And all was like on that precipice, and it was there. And another thing like that I always loved about him was like, Bill Stevenson is he's the guy.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, he's the man. He's the most underrated drummer in the history of music.
he's our drummer's
He,
favorite drummer.
yeah, and he's a genius. And the way that they pair together, him and Steven and Carl too on bass, like Steven kind of plays guitar like he's playing drums. Like if you listen to it, he's just following what Bill's doing,
Right.
but he throws in his own little tiny things into it. And then I'm like, it's, you can pair it together very, sometimes drums and guitars are way off and way different, but they are so in sync together because they've been doing it forever that it's like, it really is, it's magic. Like when you listen to it, it truly is like, holy shit, it's like one sound from one person, but they're two different people doing two different things. And it's amazing.
Yeah, and I saw them with the not all, but it's the same lineup nowadays. But I saw the Descendants with the Circle Jerks like a few months ago, And the Descendants were just like, they still have it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. I probably said it one too many times here, but I went out to Denver for the Jawbreaker Dear You
Oh yeah.
reunion show, and it
Yeah.
was like my four favorite bands. And the reason why I went out there was because I got four of my favorite bands on the same bill, where everywhere else around the country it wasn't. I got Sam I Am, Face to Face, The Descendants, and Jawbreaker, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's honestly, that's a festival lineup on one
Yeah,
fucking bill. I'm going out
that's
there for that.
a wild lineup. Yeah. I went to the one in Chicago, and it was Jawbreaker, um, Built to Spill, who was really good. And then the Smoking Popes, I think. I want to say
Yeah, I
that's
love
right.
Smoking Popes are one of my favorite bands, and I think they're. I don't think they ever got their. I don't think they ever got their flowers that they should for what they did.
Yeah.
Like, they were just so different, and they're so great. And I still, anytime I have a chance to see them, I go see the Smoking Popes because they're just so goddamn good at what
Yeah,
they do.
he's one of those vocalists, and I say this as a vocalist who is really gravelly and does yelly things, but he doesn't do that. He just kind of sets himself apart because he actually sings. He's like,
He's got like a crooner voice,
yeah, he has like a
almost
Frank
like,
Sinatra type thing going on.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which
really
is great.
awesome. So you mentioned the shows that you've seen. Do you remember the very first concert you ever went to?
Oh, the very first one that I ever went to. That's the first one I can remember going to was U2 because my parents like U2 a lot. And
Nice.
I didn't like it because I was
I
like
wouldn't either. I'm
I
not a
was
YouTube
like
fan.
13 or whatever. I was like 13, and you know, I only listened to the type of music that I just was talking about for the last 20 minutes, and I was like, what is this? This sucks.
Angsty
This
13-year-old.
Yeah, I probably said this is gay. Probably said that. Like, this sucks. Because I mean, it was like, what was it, 2005? Not to make you feel old, but I was 13 in 2005.
Yeah,
And
it's fine.
yeah, but yeah, but the first show I actually remember enjoying was when I went to go see Green Day and MCR when they went on tour together in 2004, I want to say. And that was the
Nice.
first show I actually remember liking. And
Yeah, so you
now,
got to pick that.
yeah, right. I did. They took me to that.
Nice.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't remember how much the tickets were, but I just paid probably way, way, way more than that to go see MCR in August coming up here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I so I'm on this. I've had a lot of conversations about it because, listen, I'm a Jersey boy. They're from
Yeah. Aren't they
Jersey.
from New Jersey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Frank lives in the town over from me, but it's one of those things where, like, I get why people, I guess, fell in love with them, but what I don't understand is how they can ask for the money that they're asking for and playing Giants fucking stadium. Like, first off, I already know it's still not sold out, okay?
Sure.
And you're asking this crazy kind of money for this band that they're not an open air stadium sounding band. They're just not. They are a Irving Plaza, like sell out Irving Plaza 3 days in a row venue sounding band. They're not an arena rock band. And to me, I'm like, it doesn't make sense for all the people that are going to be spending this type of money that you're not going to get the greatest sound of a band that you're absolutely in love with. And it's like
Sure.
one of those things where, like, I get so against it. I'm like, you're really not playing for your fans now. And if you're
Mm,
charging that kind of money, you know, the people who really, really want to see you, now they're adults and they have some more money, but that's not the right thing to do. Like, I saw
yeah.
some of the prices, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, for that, f- for what you're gonna get, like, that to me, it just doesn't make. And like, Thursday's opening for them. I
Sure.
love Thursday, but they're not an open air. Jeff's voice can't carry that far,
No,
like,
yeah, they're
in
definitely
an
not.
open air arena.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the kind of stuff where just it's weird to me that they're going to do that, and the fact that, like, yeah, they went on sale a while ago and it's still not even close to being sold out.
Mm.
Like, that's got to be
And you got to wonder
tough.
how much of it is them, how much of it is their managing company, how much of it is Live Nation, which is just, I was
Yeah.
hoping that we would have some movement during the last administration on like trying to do something with all these junk fees. And now we're obviously not going to get anything in regards to that for at least 4 years. So, because they probably want to charge more junk fees, just like,
Well, the junk fees. So, and here's what I try to explain to people: someone who owns a venue now and has to go through, like trying to find the best ticket broker to do pre-sales for shows, and me not getting completely annihilated, which happens. And I also don't want to ruin anybody else's experience buying tickets to come see a show or anything that I'm doing.
right.
Is what people don't understand is like it's a hit on us. And for me, being a very small place, which we're 80 to 100 people max,
Okay.
and our place is, I sell out a show, it's like $1,000. I only get $600 out of it.
Right.
Like, because they chop my legs off, and it's like, well, then at the end of the day, once I pay the artist, I made $0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what there, and there's no way to go about it other than trying to create your own site. But then when you do create your own site and you have to use someone for credit cards, you still get chopped. And it's like, there's no good way to do it. And then the way the bigger places do it is ridiculous. And just give me an all-in price too when you're going to buy a ticket. Don't say it's
True.
$35 and then when I go to check out, it's 54.
Yeah. That's the part that irks me the most. I wish they'd just be upfront about it and say, hey, tickets are $55. Deal with it. I'd be like, okay. All right.
Yeah, there's one venue in New York City that does it that way. They're like
Okay.
all in price. It just says all in price $37.24.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, and it doesn't break anything down. It's like, here's your concert, all in price $37.24. And you're like, okay, I can deal with that.
yeah. We don't really have that in St. Louis City, as far as I'm aware of. But then again, we only have a few big venues that actually have shows that you would like want to go to and pay good money to go see.
Yeah, yeah. I have the luxury of being right outside of New York City, so it's like anytime something pops up, which past 2 nights is crazy because I keep missing it. But Paul McCartney was doing pop ups at the Bowery Ballroom, which is 600 people.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
wild.
He did it back to back. He did it last night and tonight. Just all of a sudden on Instagram or whatever. Hey, pop up show, tickets go on sale right now, one per person.
Oh my
It's like
gosh.
the people that are seeing Paul McCartney at Bowery Ballroom, it's got to be insane right now. And I'm not a Beatles fan or a McCartney fan, but that's crazy.
You still have to respect it. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, I
Even if it's
totally
not,
respect.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
totally like and if I could have got a ticket, I would have went.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Even if I'm not like, it's not something I normally listen to, but I respect it. And if somebody was like, you want to go to this? I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to go to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So speaking about shows that you've been to, do you kind of have a live performance memory for good or bad in your lifetime that it occupies this little small part in your brain that always pops up when you least expect it?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I definitely have that for sure.
Would you like to share it with us?
Oh, in terms of our band or a band that I've seen
Well,
somebody else's?
anything that yeah, I mean, no, your performance. So a performance that you performed live, and for good or bad, something may have happened, but it's just a memory that sticks out forever.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So in terms of probably best performance that we've done, that really stuck out to me, we actually got an opportunity to open for this band called Story of the Year. Um,
Mhm.
to most people, they're a kind of a one-hit wondery emo band vehicle from the mid 2000s, but in St. Louis, because they're from here, they're like a big freaking deal in St. Louis. Um, because they're like one of the only bands that is big that is from here. Um, so we got the opportunity to open for them in 2023, and it was funny. There was this DJ on our local alternative rock radio station, and he's really cool. His name's Donnie, and he had messaged me on Twitter. He was like, "Hey, sorry, I don't know if this is overreaching, but I might have gotten you guys booked on this show without asking you. Is that cool?" And I was like, Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's cool, dude. Like, you don't have to like even mention it, dude. Like, thank you, honestly. So so that was probably our best performance. It was a sold out show. There was like 1,600 people there. We just like killed it, and I was like super nervous the entire day. Like, I was felt like I was on the verge of like collapsing the entire day because I knew it was sold out. Like, it was sold out like within a week because it's that band playing in St. Louis, and it always sells out. Um, so I was like super nervous the entire time, and then once we got out there, I saw all the people. I kind of like went into a Zen state and just like blasted through our set super quickly and super well, and it went over really well. We sold tons of merch, and tons of people that had obviously never heard us before that were like super into it. So that was probably our best one. And then in terms of like worst, we played this, and if they listen, they'll laugh along with us. So I'm not worried about pissing anybody off. But we played this crappy like festival in rural Missouri, like outside of St. Louis, called Barf Nest, which was like Barn Fest. It used to be called Barn Fest, but then they got like shut down, so then they renamed it Barf Nest, and it was terrible. It was like 100 and something degrees outside. We played in the middle of the day. Our set was bad. We just did really bad. Nobody liked it because we did so bad. We like, I think it's one of the only times I can remember off the top of my head that we just like badly fucked up one of our songs, like just really bad, and like had to start over again. Like we haven't really had that other than this. And yeah, so that was probably our worst. But I mean, it's all about the ups and downs. I would say the Barf Nest was probably like a 1 out of 10, and then the one at with Story of the Year at the big venue. They call it the pageant, but it's a big venue in St. Louis. Um, big by our standards at least. Uh, that was probably like a 10. But most of our shows, I'd say they probably fall within the 7 to 8 range, which is it's a good place to be, I think.
Yeah, no, it's very generous when talking about yourself. So,
Well, I've never been accused of being really all that humble, so
no, it's my favorite line from that Andy Samberg movie, Pop Star.
yeah.
Never stopping. When Mariah Carey goes, "I'm like the most humblest person I know." Like that's it's one
Right.
of my favorite lines.
Yeah, that Andy Samberg movie is really good. I remember Hot Rod is the one that I really like.
Yeah,
Is that him? Yeah, that's him.
yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
Like all of his, all like he's done so many awesome mockumentaries. The 7 Days in Hell, the tennis one is fucking great.
yeah,
Then he did the one, the tour. It was he called it Tour de Pharmacy, and it was about the Tour de France. It was so great.
yeah.
He does
Oh,
all
was
these
that during like
mockumentaries.
the doping scandal
Yeah,
where everybody was? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So the fact that he got Lance Armstrong to be in the movie and do some stuff was great too. So.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So let's since we're on talking about how great your band is, so with the new album, which as of um this release will be out. I mean, what's it feel like first off to have something completed and ready to come out, and share, and have people judge you and all that kind of stuff with the world? I mean, how are you feeling about that right now?
I feel pretty good about it. I really put a lot of work. I think I put more work into this than almost anything I've ever done, except for maybe studying for the bar exam, which probably should have done more, honestly. But this we really put a lot of work into it. We really went in on the studio stuff and really got the sound that we wanted. With the first one, like we were constrained by time and money and didn't really have either of those things. And I liked the first one, but I wish that we might have focused a little bit more on it, spent a little bit more time in the studio. And then the second one was getting there, but this one I think we finally hit our stride in terms of that. So I'm pretty happy with the way it sounds, and the songs are all I think pretty good from where I'm sitting. So I'm excited for people to hear it. Maybe a little bit nervous that it, mostly I get nervous that something's gonna get lost in the feed. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah, yeah.
buried by everything else that comes out. I feel like there's almost like too much new stuff. Like maybe we need to like half of the new stuff would be good. Maybe.
Yeah, no, it does. Sometimes I can understand how you feel. It gets lost in this, and that's why we're trying to do what we're doing right now. Right,
Right.
we're trying to weed through the fucking bullshit that's out there and say, no, listen to this. This is
Right.
what you need to listen to. And listening to the full album, as I have a couple times now, like it does sound kind of like you guys found your full sound, like the way you envisioned at the beginning of this, by listening to, Times Beach and Lavender Sky, and to where we are now with what is it, Death and the Miser.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So like to where you are now, like you can kind of hear going through, because I do my homework. I listen to everything to be able to gauge, because I'm not afraid to go back and tell someone, yeah, your new album's good, but your last album, that's your opus. Like that
Right.
is. But I think with Death and the Miser, I think you guys finally found exactly what you were trying to do at the beginning, and now you got it. And like
Right.
it has this grandiose sound to it that isn't in the other stuff. Like you can hear, like you can almost hear things rattle when you hear that fucking the drum beat come in. You can, and the bass lines kick in. You can almost hear that rattle going through the speakers, and you're like, that's when you know a band found their pocket where they're supposed to be, because you get those little rattles. You're like, oh, there it is. Now they're going for it, and they know what they want to do. And I commend you on that, because that's exactly where I feel it sounds.
Well, I appreciate that. And and that's one of those things where some bands they nail it like right off the rip, right? I mean, we're talking like the first full-length Descendants album, Milo Goes to College. It's nuts. It's just right. They started at 100, and then they've been through like 50 years as a band or whatever, and they're still at 100. They're still at 100 out of 100. But and then other times it takes a little while to kind of get off your feet. We talked about like Green Day. I mean, Green Day's first album is like, it's fine. It's like, okay. But
Yeah.
Kerplunk and Dookie are like the ones that really like kind of knock it out of the park. And I mean, it's a thing about like being more open with your studio guys too, because studio is like a whole different thing than a live performance. And I told our guy, who it's the same guy actually, Gabe Usury. He recorded and mixed all three of them, and this one I gave him the very clear like playlist or whatever. I said, this is what I want it to sound like. How do we get it? And we used like way nicer amps on this one. I don't know if that made a big difference. I think it probably did, but I ended up we ended up recording most of the guitars on this like Mesa Boogie TC50 that I really fell in love with. And I think it does make a big difference. So the right equipment, right communication, just a little bit more experience, I think goes a long way when you're trying to really put your all into something,
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. Hopefully I'll be the first to tell you by listening to the album. Like you did a great job. I'm all in on it. I'm can't wait to share it with everybody when it fully comes out. But
nice.
Now comes the time where, I asked the hard question, and if you only had one opportunity to share one song of your band, what song of yours are you sharing with them? You get one chance to make an impression on somebody. Somebody never heard your music before, and you can only play them one song and one song only. What are you playing for them?
That's a great question. I'm holding a copy of the album in my hands right now, and I'm looking at the back. So if I guess that I'd probably say Sticker Book.
an image of a faithless grace. There's a name inside that I can't place. You know I want a taste of heaven before I'll figure out where I am and who I am and what I am. Gave it all that I got, but despite what I thought, I can't describe how I feel today, and all the shame seems to wash away. Gave it all that I got. I 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 gave it all that I got. Broken heart will keep beating. I return every day for a memory more fleeting. When I felt young, felt alive.
I think that's a really strong single. We just put it out, I think a couple weeks ago, and I like the way it sounds. I think it kind of blends a little bit of our more like poppy side with the punk side, and everybody seems to like that breakdown part at the end. So I would probably go with that because I
Yeah,
feel like that casts the widest net.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the breakdown at the end. You know, for me, and it's like songs that I know when the album comes out, I'm going to share with people right away. Like for me, is Arranging a Funeral or
Oh
A
yeah,
Long Winter. Like those are the two that I'm just like, yeah, this is. I think that's where I found myself just going, oh yeah, no, this is where they know what they need to be doing, and they just did it. And like
yeah,
that's
yeah. That last vocal part of Arranging a Funeral was the last thing I recorded for the album, and it hurt my body. I like almost threw up after I hit that note. I was like, all right, I have to go home and go to sleep. I slept for like 4 hours after I was done recording that.
wow, yeah, that's your
That's right.
body telling you enough's enough.
I mean, you can only drink so much throat coat and body armor, sport water, or whatever until you're like you're just tapped out. You just can't keep going.
And now you gave us sticker book. What's your favorite song you've ever recorded?
So my favorite one, I think, is probably the last song on the album, the House Where No One Sleeps. Um, I like. I have a thing, and it's probably because Dookie's like the first album I ever heard. But I have like a thing for those songs where they start off like a clean, and then they like jump in with the distortion, like
Yeah.
FOD at the end of Dookie, and that song. It's by Boxcar Racer. I think it's called Letters to God. I think.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, songs like that have always like really. Oh, and then there's one other one I wanted to mention. There's that. Oh, I have no idea what it's called, but it's by Less Than Jake. It's the brightest bulb of has burned out, or something like that. I'm not going to look it up because it would take too long. But I like that format of a song where it's like it's clean at the beginning and then it comes in. And I've always wanted to write that, but I've always been a little bit self conscious about the clean part because you're playing it live and you got to sing it, and I play guitar and sing, so it's just me just jerking myself off basically up there when we play it live. And I'm worried like the lyrics aren't gonna like I'm worried the lyrics are gonna be cringy or something or corny and like people aren't gonna like it. Yeah, the full band part I was never really worried about that part. But the part at the beginning, it's like, this is kind of a reach. Like, is this gonna go over well? But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just doing it for this album. Like it was something I wanted to do for the other ones, and I just wasn't confident enough to do it. So I just kind of went for it, and I feel like it panned out. So that's probably my favorite song that we've recorded.
Yeah, you kind of, I understand that feeling. You kind of feel like you're on an island, right? With all, but everyone is in a boat surrounding that island, staring at you,
Yeah,
waiting to see what's going to happen.
yeah, they're like, okay, is this the whole thing? Like, and I'm not raised on the like singer songwriter like solo focused stuff. Like I don't go see that live. I never listen to it. So it's just not something I'm used to doing. And I was just like, not confident enough to do it. But I'm glad that we did because I feel like it's probably my favorite song that we have recorded so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember. So I don't know if you know the band Barstool Preachers. They're
No, I know.
punk band out of the UK, and I had TJ, the lead singer, on, and his dad kind of comes from a very popular band, but he did a song just kind of like that. Like for the first time, he tried a clean song, and like the fact that I got to tell him, like, dude, I think it's the best song you've ever done. Like it was so crazy that I was just like, man, he's like, I was so same thing as you. Like, I was so scared. I'm like, dude, I honestly, like, I played it for my wife and like brought tears to my wife's eye. Like, I was like, dude, like, you should be proud of that and like go play it all the fucking time because
Wow.
it is just crazy. It's a crazy song. I think I actually put it in the episode too if you go and listen to it. But
they're on Pure Noise. That's cool.
yeah,
I'll have to check them out.
yeah. Yeah, they kind of got like a little ska tinge to them, but like without horns kind of thing. Type.
I kind of like that.
Really good. Yeah. But all right, we got your favorite song you ever released. Let's go into so do you have a band in your life that you constantly turn to that like never lets you down? You always go to listen to them when you need to listen to music?
Yeah. So I will say, and this is like totally out of left field because it's like nothing like what we've been talking about recently this whole time. But
that's right. I love Off the Wall.
My go-to is I have a playlist. I know it's not what you asked for, but I have a playlist that is just all 80s metal. And then stuff that sounds like 80s metal that I made. And that's what I listen to. It's my default. So when I don't know what to listen to, I listen to it's called Hesher playlist, which is Hesher, for people that don't know, is like a name for like an 80s metal dude. So like if you saw Stranger Things, the guy from Stranger Things, who's like an 80s metal guy, he would be a Hesher. So there you go. That's what a Hesher is.
How about what Rolling Stone would categorize as your favorite band? Like,
it's probably just got to be Green Day, I think. I know it's like the easiest answer ever, and probably the most expected answer from anybody that knows me or has ever listened to our band. But I mean, it just doesn't let me down. I mean, like you said, I saw them when they came by St. Louis most recently. They played through all of Dookie and American Idiot, and I've got my big boy lawyer job now, and I could buy front row tickets. I did, and it was awesome. I was like, this is what it's all about. Like, this is
that's what the 13-year-old kid was looking for.
Yeah. Yes. The 13-year-old kid in the back row was like, I got to be the 13-year-old kid at heart in the front row, which was really, really awesome. And I mean, they're like every band that's super big. It's kind of cheesy. Like, they're kind of cheesy. They do weird partnerships. They have like a fucking stupid like coffee company that they made, which is stupid, and I don't like that. But like musically speaking, it's just like it's where it's at for me, and I just keep coming back to them. I'll defend them even if people think they're lame or whatever. That's my band. So, and I know Anjelica would say the same thing too.
Now, was that that was when Smashing Pumpkins was opening for them?
Yes, but the Smashing Pumpkins didn't play in St. Louis for some reason. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
But we got tickets to see them again in Nashville.
Okay, because I heard somebody saw them out here at it'll always be Shea Stadium to me, but Shitty Field, and Smashing Pumpkins open. But you were talking about like weird things, like because Billy Corgan owns a wrestling company, they had like wrestlers come out on stage and do like wrestling moves during Smashing Pumpkins set, which I'm just like, that's insane to me.
That is wild. When I saw them in Nashville, they didn't do that, so I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. So besides the metal stuff and Green Day and stuff, is there an artist or type of music that you listen to that you get tons of enjoyment out of that people would be really surprised that you listen to it, based on everything we've been talking?
Yeah. I listen to video game soundtracks a lot.
All right.
So specifically like indie game, video game soundtracks, I really like those. There's some of those like independently made games out there where it'll be like one person makes the whole game almost. Like they
Yeah.
probably have help or whatever. But and a lot of times that one person will also make the music for the game to tie it all together. And a lot of times those soundtracks are really, really good. Um, I'm like a big rock opera guy. I've always wanted to do one. Um, it's difficult to make it not terrible, but anybody that can do like concept albums or like rock opera or whatever, I really think that's cool. And like with the video game soundtrack thing, it's kind of like that. Like you can listen to it from front to back, and it's almost like you get the whole story without even having to actually play the game, which I think is cool. So I actually like those a lot.
You get the plot, and that's I think as we talked about earlier, like albums, and you said concept album. A kid once showed me and he's like, I made this concept album. I'm like, well, what's it about? He's like, it's got like 12 songs and it's just like, it just flows, like everything works together. I go, it's not a concept album. That's a fucking album. That's how it's supposed to be made. Like they're supposed to tell a story. Yeah, it's supposed to tell a story, and song placement is important. And, like I'll go to albums that I've absolutely loved, and like the only good thing about streaming nowadays is like I'll just make my own playlist of that album. All I do is I change the order and that it's supposed to be, because I'm like, I think it flows better this way.
Yeah.
I love being able to do that, to just be like, that song just doesn't fit there. It would probably go better here. And then I'll play the album the way that I created it. I'm like, oh no, that's it. Like that completely makes the album, makes me want to go back and listen to it again.
That's a cool idea. I'll have to try that out. I like that idea.
Yeah, because there's some albums that I'm sure you absolutely love, but you're like, there's one or two songs you're like, just like when they come on, you're like, you kind of want to skip them, like how I call perfect albums are unskippable albums. Like, but there's sometimes those songs that you can make it an unskippable album just by rearranging the couple of songs that you're like, that you weren't too big on.
Right. Like if there's like one song where it's like slow in a spot where the album doesn't really call for a slow song, or it just came right after a slow song or whatever. Yeah, that is a good idea. I should try that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. And, when you're done, in your head, just go, thanks, Shane.
I will for sure. But so if I had to say, like, specifically for anybody out there that wants to listen to, if you want to listen to a good soundtrack, go pull up the Undertale soundtrack. It's a game that was released. It makes me feel weird that it's already 10 years old, but it was released 10 years ago by this dude named Toby Fox. It was very, very, very popular for a few years there. But I think people might have forgotten a little bit about it, but that soundtrack is wild, and it really tells you the whole story. All the characters have like those little like liet motifs, if you want to get into like music theory or whatever, where they all have their little mini themes, and they all like work together, and it's wild. The guy doesn't really do interviews, which is a shame. He doesn't do stuff like this, so you can't really know like what he was thinking. But he was cooking something with that one. He's kind of like a musical soundtrack genius. I don't know where he came from or what his background was or anything, but he must have had something to do with. He must have some experience in that field, because it's like better than teams of people that do this kind of stuff for movies. I just don't understand like how it could be so good,
Yeah. No, listen, I get to things sometimes when I listen to it, I'm like, how is this as good as it is? Like, what the fuck? And then especially if I find something like that no one else fucking has heard of, or like you can't, it's like what the fuck? It's so goddamn good. How does nobody like have this, or like how is this person not more well known? How are they not the biggest artist in the world? Like that's the kind of stuff too that like fucking drives me crazy in life, is hearing something that's so perfect that you have to just, when somebody goes, who? You're like, oh God.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Oh yeah.
Now we got a couple more questions before we come in on our time. Here's, the last two are a little harder questions for some people, maybe not you. Meteor's going to crash into the earth. You have 5 minutes left to live, and you have to listen to one song and one song only. What song are you listening to?
Does it have to be 5 minutes long exactly?
No, it doesn't. It's just a song.
A song. Ooh, okay. Um, that is a great question. That is a really great question. I'm gonna have to ponder it for just a second. So I got 5 minutes. Now the question is, do I want to spend the 5 minutes listening to one song, or do I want to listen to a song that's really short so that I have time to do other things? Right?
Yeah. See,
That could
my
be
thing
it.
is like when I think of that question, when I think of that question and I come up with it, it's I'm laying on my back in the grass next to, my lovely wife, and we're
Yeah.
just staring at the sky and you're seeing this ball of fire, and what song am I putting on at that moment? Like that's how
Um,
I picture
yeah.
it.
I'm gonna say mayonnaise. Smashing Pumpkins mayonnaise.
Wow. Nice
I
one.
think that's gotta
First
be
time
it.
ever on this show. Yeah. I
Really?
think that's the first time. I think it's the first time a pumpkin song has ever been mentioned
That
too
the
for the end of the world. Yeah.
the problem is that I'm looking it up right now. That I think it's slightly longer than 5 minutes long. So let's see. Nope,
It's
five
all right.
minutes and 49 seconds. So I guess you could just like skip the intro, and then by the time the meteor setting, we should be at the end where it's like doing that, which would be cool.
Yeah. All right. Good answer with that. I like that. That's a good one. All right. So, in light of the recent tragedies out in LA, I've been prefacing this on every recording for a while now, but I will preface it again. This question has been here longer than what transpired, so I will ask the question. And I feel terrible for what happened, everybody. But if your house is engulfed in flames, all your loved ones get out, your pets get out, everything is good, but you have a second to run back in and grab one piece of music memorabilia or music oriented object, what is the one thing you're grabbing?
Oh, that's another great question. So if I had time to go get my red Gibson SG, that would probably be what I would have to go get. It's the guitar that I played most. Um, it was funny actually. I got the red Gibson SG. It's beautiful. I think it was from like 2007. It's made in America. It's before Gibson kind of like dipped in quality a little bit. So it's like right before. So it's a really good quality. And I got it because I used to have an Epiphone when I was in high school. And my sister, who I'm on good terms with now, she threw it down the stairs when I was out at my friend's house. I don't know why she did that. I guess I'll have to ask her about that at some point and maybe group therapy or something. But she threw my guitar down the stairs and broke it. And my parents bought me a new guitar and they took me to the guitar store and they didn't have that specific model of Epiphone they weren't making anymore. So they bought me the Gibson instead. And now I have it still. And it's the best thing ever. Um, so that's probably what I would pick. If I wasn't able to get that, if I had to pick something that wasn't my band oriented, I would probably pick. I have a copy of. I'm surprised that this band hasn't come up yet, but I have a copy of the album Mush by Leatherface. I
Mm-hmm.
have an original pressing of it on vinyl, and that's probably what I would go. That's probably what I would get.
That's awesome. I have a copy of that as well. Leatherface is an unsung fucking band.
Yeah, that album
Like
is crazy.
the fact that people only really found them after they did the split with Hot Water Music,
Yeah,
like it was always a travesty to me because like I had their CDs and I had their vinyl. And I was just like I would tell people about them all the time. Like I don't like them, and then the fucking split with Hot Water Music came out, and everybody's like, "Dude, did you ever hear that band Leatherface?" I'm like, "Fuck off."
right. Yeah, that band is so good, and that album's like one of my favorites. And just having the original pressing on vinyl, I mean, it's special to me. It it doesn't have the cover. I guess they put that on the CD or whatever. So the vinyl has like three less songs than the version that's on streaming does. But I almost
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it more. Like I like that it ends with that song "Dead Industrial Atmosphere." It
Yep.
like ends with that song, and it's such a good ending to the record. I think it's great.
Yeah, I love how I love that you mentioned the band Leatherface and it's at your age and Leatherface wasn't an easy band to find, and the fact that you have that and you appreciate that, that's like literally makes my heart grow.
Yeah.
makes my heart grow like the Grinch. Like, that's fucking awesome. I love that.
Well, that's why I
You know,
sing.
people are
Part of
finding
the
it.
reason why I sing like that, because
You
of
got
him.
that. Yeah. You have that Blake Schwarzenbach fucking
Yeah.
voice too.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Jawbreaker,
Yeah.
who are one of my absolute. I mean, I have a Jawbreaker tattoo, so I mean that's all
Right.
you should know about it.
Yeah. I was a little too late. Like I said, starting in the 2000s is when I really started listening to music. So like at Jawbreaker, getting stuff from Jawbreaker was almost impossible to find in St. Louis up until they reunited in 2000. What was it, 17 or 16 or 18 or whatever,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any cool like vintage, super awesome Jawbreaker stuff, but I do have some of that kind of stuff for other bands. And my favorite probably is going to be that Leatherface album for sure.
That's all. Well, we've been here for over an hour now, and you know, there's no better time than now to. I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to tell everybody how to find what it is that Fight Back Mountain does. Throw out all your handles, give people a way to make sure they can keep up, listen to everything that you're doing, and follow all the things that you're going to be doing in the future.
Yeah, for sure. So on Instagram, we are at FightbackMTN. For some reason, people don't know how to spell mountain, and just go with MTN instead. I honestly, it's one of those words where when you look at it for long enough, you're like, is that how you spell that? Really? Is it really what it is? So at FightbackMTN on Instagram, that's a good spot. We're also the same handle at FightbackMTN on Facebook, but we don't use it nearly as much. We are also on, I'm using big stupid air quotes, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, the Hell app, at FightbackMTN. We don't really use that one that much either. So really, Instagram is the best place to find us. That's where we post the most. That's where we keep up to date. And then our music is streaming wherever you want to find it. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's on Bandcamp. If you want to stream it, but you want to give us the most, Apple is a good place to stream it because you get paid more per stream. If you want to buy a copy of it, we have them on vinyl and CD. The new album available right now for pre-order. And by the time this comes out, just normal order. On our Bandcamp page, the vinyl's $25 and the CDs are $10. And yeah, in terms of that, I mean, we are going on a little mini tour starting in March 6th through the 9th. On March 6th, we'll be in Cincinnati, and then we're going to be in Detroit, Milwaukee, and then Chicago. So we're doing a little Midwestern action. And so if you're in any of those cities on any of those dates, you know, look us up on Instagram and come and see us because we would definitely love to see your beautiful face at our show.
Nice. Great job. All right. We're coming into our final segment. Our final segment is called our weekly threes. It's 3 things that we're listening to that we would like people to check out. So you as the artist, you get to give 3 and then I give my 3.
Cool. Yeah. So first I would say the new Pup single. I can't remember what it's called. Hold on. I think it's called Hallways. Hold on. The new Pup single, Hallways, is good. I think it literally just came out today and it rocks. Pup is great. You should check that out. And then the second one would be, I've been listening to this band from the early 2000s called Hot Rod Circuit because they opened up for the Get Up Kids a couple weeks ago when I saw them in St. Louis. So check out that album, Sorry About Tomorrow. I think it's an underrated kind of emo classic. And speaking of underrated classics, there's this thrash album I've been listening to called Uncertain Future by a band called Forced Entry. It rules. It's like crazy progressive thrash from like 1989. So if that's what you want to listen to, if you're in the mood for that, you can't do wrong with that one either. So those are my 3.
Nice. Great 3. Love Hot Rod Circuit too. And Andy's just a great human being.
Yeah.
But all right. So time for my 3. My 3 this week, everyone. First band is a band by the name of Sinking. They have an album called Only Echoes. It came out in, the horrible time that was the world during the pandemic. But they are creating new stuff too. They just put out a split with Arms Like Roses, but Sinking Only Echoes, absolutely fucking great album. Next is a band called Sweet Mess. So Sweet and Mess, one word, Sweet Mess. They're Montreal based band who I think unfortunately are probably done, but last year they released an EP called Everything's Fine, and it's just a very awesome, great melodic, emo-ish album, female singer, kind of along the lines of a Rocking Horse kind of vibe to it. And last but not least is a band called Wishy. A friend turned me on to them recently. The name of the album is 777. They're from Indiana. They kind of have like this 90s alt rock, like droning bass type of sound to them, but just really good. When you listen to it, you can almost be, if you're like me and went to high school in the early 90s, it's the sound that's right there. So anybody who's older listening and would like to have some nostalgia, listen to Wishy. And if you're younger and you would like to know what nostalgia is, go listen to that as well. So
Nice.
But Adrian, I just, first and foremost, thank you so much for creating the music that brought us together.
Thank you.
I say this all the time here, that a lot more conversations can be had. A lot more people can become friends and get over their differences or whatever they have that they don't think they have in common with somebody. But when it comes to music, everyone has something in common with each other. And I think it's important what you do as an artist when you're creating music, because again, you just brought two strangers, you and I didn't know each other, to an hour conversation and be like, yeah, no, great dude. So happy to have him here. And it's so, as an artist, I want you to know that your art means a lot. And, you know, it's not just for you. People have already listened to it, attached themselves to it, and just keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's really special and it's really important. So huge heartfelt thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate it. We don't have any plans to stopping anytime soon. So,
well, that's great to hear. So everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Fight Back Mountain, and have a great fucking time.
Souped up El Caminos, scoring at Maydays to light up the late night sky with violence. The shots rang out like a dial tone at 12 a.m. Another year down, we're not living, we're just killing time. So break all those promises to yourself, cause who needs them anyway? Like sun exposed silver, you're starting to fade away. Oh, winter, look what you made of me. Oh, winter, you finally broken me. Girl who got drunk every night, settled into life as a church wife, but there's still a sadness in her eyes. For first love lost, I'm longing for. I'll be there next time. Your life goes tits up, just don't let me down, like I know you will. So break all those promises to yourself, because who needs them anyway? Like sun exposed silver, you're starting to fade away. Long winter, look what you made of me. Oh, long winter, you finally broken me.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.